Retirement experts say you should have saved $500,000 by your 50s. But did they factor in gender-affirming care, moving states for safety, chosen family? I got a call recently from my friend David, and he sounded panicked. He said, I know what the financial gurus say that you should have saved, but between paying for my transition years ago and living in a city where I actually feel safe, I feel miles behind. He wanted to know, how much do other people my age actually have? And am I going to be working until I'm 80 just to survive? If you're in your 50s or 60s and feel like the standard financial advice doesn't account for your lived experience, you are not alone. By the end of this video, we aren't going to look at the generic averages. We are going to break down exactly where you stand compared to your peers, and we're going to calculate realistic catch-up numbers that accounts for unique financial reality of being queer. Hi, I'm Zan, and on this channel, we don't just talk about money, we talk about financial resilience as a form of liberation. My goal is to help our community build the security we need to live authentically, forever. The reality check, average versus median. If you feel unprepared, the data backs you up. General studies show only 41% of people over 60 feel on track. For us, the anxiety is often higher because of the savings gap, the result of lifetime wage disparities and higher costs of living. But before we spiral, we need to distinguish between the average and the median. This is critical because the average is often ruined by the ultra wealthy. The average, if we have 5 gays at brunch, 4 of them have $10,000 saved, but one is a tech CEO with $2 million, the average person at that table has $400,000. That doesn't help the other 4 pay for brunch. The median, this is the middle person. It tells us how much truer of a story of what a typical person has. The numbers, where do you stand? Let's look at the big data from Vanguard and the Federal Reserve. The average, which is the skewed number, the Federal Reserve says the average savings for someone late 50s, early 60s is $537,000. The median, which is the real number, the median is $185,000. If you have more than $185,000, you are doing way better than 50% of the population. However, we need to add the queer context. Research shows LGBTQ+ workers often has less in their 401k due to the wage gap. So if you're looking at those numbers and feeling behind, remember, you'll likely navigate financial hurdles your straight peers didn't, like the safety premium of living in expensive, affirming cities. The new rule of thumb, 8 times versus 5 times. Now, the million-dollar question, how much do I actually need? Standard advice says that you need 8 times your income by the age of 60. So if you make $100,000, you need $800,000 saved. If hearing that number makes you want to click off this video, wait. That number assumes a lot of other things that might not apply to you. I believe a more realistic target for many in our community is 5 times your income. Here is why the standard 8 times rule is often bloated. Expenses drop. You aren't commuting, you aren't saving for retirement anymore. The spending curve, retirement spending looks like a smile. It's high at the start, traveling and having fun, and like dips in the middle and rises at the end because of healthcare. It's not a straight line, and that's okay. The queer calculation adjustment. Let's run those numbers for a realistic scenario, but we have to flag some specific LGBTQ+ traps. Now, let's say you earn $100,000. Estimated retirement spending, we usually estimate 75% of your current income. So you need $75,000 a year. Social Security. This should cover about $30,000 a year. The marriage gap warning. Standard advice assumes that you are married and getting a spousal Social Security benefit. If you're single or if you are in a long-term partnership but not legally married, you do not get a spousal benefit and you need to plan for that gap. But assuming you have $30,000 from Social Security, you have a shortfall of $45,000 a year. To generate that $45,000 safely, using a 5% withdrawal rate, you need a portfolio of roughly $900,000 total. But wait, if you're partnered and you both have Social Security, or if you manage your expenses down, that need number drops significantly. For many households, aiming for $500,000, which is 5 times your income by the age of 60, is much more achievable goal than the terrifying $800,000 figure. It creates a bridge that is actually crossable. Action plan: catching up without panic. If you're looking at 5 times and thinking, I'm still not there, do not despair. Despair is expensive. Action is free. Here is your 3-step action plan. Audit your safety premium. We often overspend on housing or lifestyle to feel safe or find community. Can we find a middle ground? Can we move to a location that is still affirming but a lower cost of living? Social Security strategy. Because we often have fewer family safety nets, maximizing this guaranteed income is key. Delaying your claim until age 70 increases your check by roughly 8% for every year you wait. It's the best guaranteed return that you'll find. Chosen family check-in. Generic advice assumes that you rely on kids. We rely on community. Have you talked to your chosen family about pooling resources, co-housing, or shared caretaking in the later years? That conversation alone can save you thousands in future costs. Your next step. Listen, the worst thing you can do is let shame paralyze you. You may have started late because you were busy surviving, transitioning, or fighting for your rights. That is absolutely valid. But today is the day that we switch from surviving to thriving. If you're looking at these numbers and thinking, okay, I am ready to catch up, but I don't want to lock all of my money away until I'm 65, you need a different strategy. I call it the Freedom Fund. While 401ks are absolutely great, they have strict rules. A Freedom Fund, which is really just a taxable brokerage account that gives you flexibility to retire early, cover urgent life changes, or pay that safety move without begging the IRS for permission. But you have to know how to manage the taxes on it so you don't get hit with a surprise bill. I break down exactly how to build this account and keep the tax man away in this video. I think it's over here. I never know what side. How to invest your Freedom Fund to retire early and pay less in taxes. Thanks for being here. I'll see you over there.